What's up everyone, I'm Gushi. In this video, we're going to be going over Cyberpunk 2077 and all the weapons, the loot, and currently known skills they can get within the game. So hopefully with this information, you guys might get a better idea of the specific playstyle that you'll go for, which will determine which weapons you'll be using, what skills you'll be going for first, and some possible mods that will synergize perfectly with your build. So with that, let's get started. As a note, I did want to explain to you guys that all this information was provided in the Night City Wire episodes that the official Cyberpunk 2077 YouTube page posted, so you guys won't get spoiled. Okay, to start things off, I wanted to show you guys a couple of menus that got introduced. First is your main inventory menu. In this clip, you can have 3 weapons equipped. Just like any looter shooter, each piece of gear that you have will have a rarity tied to it, which ranges from common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. As the rarity goes up, the specific weapon will have more mod slots that you can equip, along with higher base stats. Weapons can be found off the bodies of your dead enemies, bought through vendors all throughout the city, and most importantly, the loot caches that you'll come across throughout your journey. So first we'll go over the types of weapons that you can get in the game. All weapons can be categorized into 3 archetypes. Each archetype specializes in a certain stats and has unique attributes to them, which will definitely change how you use the weapon. The first archetype are tech weapons, and so what's really cool about tech weapons is that they can shoot through walls. In one of the IGN interviews, a person that got to play the game early based his whole playthrough around this tech weapon. And so what you can do is mark people all around the map, and because you can see their outline, along with a high damage sniper rifle and silencer, once they're marked, he just hid in a safe space and took them all out by just shooting them through the walls. Tech weapons aren't only limited to sniper rifles, but can also come in rifles, pistols, revolvers, and shotguns. The next weapon archetype we'll go over are the power weapons. The power weapons are probably the closest to weapons we're used to in the modern day, but they do have one attribute where you could ricochet the bullets off any solid object. This archetype does the most damage, so if you're going for an all-out damage build, power weapons might be your type of gun. Finally, the last archetype of guns are the smart weapons. Smart weapons have a targeting system where once an enemy is targeted, bullets actually track enemies around cover. Next, I want to talk about the different mods you can get for these weapons. And so there's 2 different types of mods that you can get. One are attachments, which are things like scopes or silencers, which usually give just stat advantages. The next type of mods are software mods. These are chips that go into the gun and change the gun on a fundamental level. A couple of examples are the non-lethal rounds and the biochemical rounds that will help you take down armor faster. Other types of weapons that you can equip are melee weapons. I always prefer melee combat, so this is the one I'm definitely going for. The melee weapon that was shown in the Night City episode is the thermal katana. However, in other reviews, I have heard that there will be non-lethal options such as bats, crowbars, and even some crazy weapons like dildo swords. And so this is a major distinction. There's always a lethal and non-lethal way to handle a situation. For blunt objects, hitting them will only knock them out, giving you the option to then finish them off or let them be. On the other hand, katanas are straight lethal, and once you take an enemy down, they are dead. Guns are kind of in a similar spot, where you can equip non-lethal ammunition like stun rounds. There are other ways that you can utilize melee combat, and this is through Cyberware. And these are basically implants in your arm, and there's 3 different modifications you can make. The first is the mantis blades. Instead of holding katanas, the blades actually come out of your arm. The next piece of cyberware you can get are the gorilla arms. This improves both your strength and endurance, giving you a massive boost to hand-to-hand combat. In several clips, it also seems to give you the ability to rip off guns off of turrets, and with the right stats, the ability to pry open doors. Finally, the last piece of cyberware that you can equip are the projectile launch system. With this, you can launch projectiles out of your arm. In this case, this gameplay uses a missile launcher, but I'm sure there'll be other options like grenades or maybe some with utility like a smoke screen or some AoE effect. Alright, going back to the menu, we also have different clothing that we can equip. When we're selecting the clothing that we want to pick, we do also see a mod slot. I'm not sure if clothing can be equipped with more mod slots, as in this clip, it only shows 1 mod slot no matter what the rarity. And I'm pretty sure the mod slot will just increase your base stats, which if we go back to the main inventory menu, we could see on the bottom left hand corner. We have armor, health, and stamina. As a note, if you are using melee weapons, it does drain stamina meter. Armor doesn't play a significant role for you, but throughout the gameplay trailers, we do see that enemies do have higher armor stats. And it's also mentioned that there are specific ammunition that you can get for your gun that will shred armor faster. Speaking of cyberware, these examples only show you cyberware that you can attach to your arms. However, cyberware can replace throughout your whole body. And this can be done through the different NPCs in the games called Ripper Docs. So Ripper Docs are basically the blacksmiths of this genre. They are usually vendors where you can trade, buy, and upgrade the different pieces of cyberware that you have. Finally, the last thing I wanted to go over are your player's attribute points. Attribute points work hand in hand with the weapons that you'll be using. As you level up each attribute, you'll have the ability to unlock different perks, which will benefit you further with the playstyle that you choose. There are 5 different attributes: body, reflex, technical ability, intelligence, and cool. Starting off with the reflex attribute, these perks give you benefits to rifles, handguns, and blades. Some of these perks have been shown in the trailers and give you stat boosts to damage, stamina reduction, and more armor. A really important thing to mention is that as you use these abilities, very similar to Skyrim, your skill progression will automatically level up. So even if you don't spend perk points in these specific skill trees, you'll still be progressing your skills and gaining rewards. The next attribute that was shown was the technical ability, which included the crafting and engineering. If we go back to our inventory menu, we do see that there is a tab for crafting. So I'm sure there's a way to craft specific mods or even parts to use at the Ripper Docs. The next attribute is body. For this, we can assume that it increases your base health, gives benefits to armor, and increases your strength for melee combat and strength checks for specific actions like forcing open doors. The next attribute is intelligence. Intelligence will be the main attribute you'll be focusing on if you are going for a hacking playstyle. The hackers, or in-game called net runners, rely on sabotaging the environment or the cybernetics in other people to take advantage of the situation. There are several gameplay clips of hacking, so I wanted to talk about this real quick. Through the different cyberware that you have equipped, all hacking requires a resource called your cyberdeck RAM, which will slowly regain after time. While performing a hack action, depending on the severity of the hack, it will require a certain amount of RAM to complete the action. So with more intelligence, you'll probably get to increase the amount of RAM that you can currently store and how fast you regain RAM. The last attribute we'll go over is cool. This attribute lets you stay cool under pressure. So if you're going for a stealth playthrough, this is the attribute that you'll be focusing on. With that, that's everything that I found out about the weapons, gear, skills, and perks that you can get within the game. Hopefully this gives you guys a better idea on the playstyle that you'll be choosing on your first playthrough, because I heard that respecing and buying things within game does cost a lot of money. So just as a warning, be careful on what you spend your money on or abuse the save mechanics to make sure that you are getting a thing that you want. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope to catch you in the next one, and GG.